Heading into week 4 of the fantasy football season, we are bringing you 6 trade for and a couple trade away targets.
That's right.
For fantasy guys that might be buy lows or players that we're just all in on at this point.
Yeah.
If week 3 hasn't worked out for you, don't fret. Let's make some moves. Let's try and get back in that zone. Do us a favor, drop a like on this video, subscribe. We have a great video for you. Stay all the way through. Let us get through these takes and let us know in the comments below if you agree or disagree and any trade targets that you're looking for this week. All right, I'll go first. My first trade for is Christopher Olave.
Olave.
Also, just a side note, by the way, Alvin Kamara is also a buy low right now. Okay,
yeah,
he genuinely is a buy low. The usage is going to be there. This offense is going to be better, and he has an incredible get right game versus Minnesota this week. This is probably like the last chance to buy Alvin Kamara. Chris Olave. This is technically not a buy low. What did I do last week when I came on this, this video and I told you guys to buy Breece Hall? I said, it's not a buy low. I understand Breece Hall just scored a touchdown, but we're buying the trajectory of where these rookies are going in the usage that they're about to see.
Right.
Now is the time to buy Chris Olave. It will be too late if you don't buy him this week. Even if he has a down game, the targets are going to be there. It will be too late to buy him if you don't go all in right now. And I'm going to say it right here, right now. Chris Olave will finish as a top 15 wide receiver in fantasy football this year. He will finish top 15. Write it down. Come back. Let me know if I'm wrong. Firstly, the targets and usage is incredible for Chris Olave so far through 3 weeks. Why do we talk about targets so much? Well, because targets lead to fantasy points. He is 15th in targets through 3 weeks. But in the last 2 weeks, in both games, Chris Olave has had 13 targets. And these aren't even high-scoring games.
Right.
These aren't even games that are like you're seeing 30, 40 points. These are low-scoring games where both teams are playing against really good defenses. 13 targets in both weeks. Here in week 3, only Hollywood Brown had more targets in the entire NFL than Chris Olave. He is clearly the best wide receiver on this team, and his ability to stretch the field is invaluable for the Saints offense. For the Saints to have success, Chris Olave probably has to be the best player on this team offensively as a rookie, and I think he's ready to step up and do so. Chris Olave, through 3 weeks, I told you his ability to stretch the field is invaluable. Check this out. According to Player Profiler, Olave through 3 weeks, air yards, first in the NFL. Unrealized air yards, first in the NFL. Hopefully that turns around. Deep targets, first in the air in the NFL, and his ADOT, average depth of target, is third in the NFL. This is why they traded up. This is why they gave up the draft capital to go get Chris Olave. He will continue to be a focal point of this air attack. And now you talk about the injuries to this wide receiver room and also to Alvin Kamara, by the way.
Yep.
Both Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, they left week 3's games due to injury. For Michael Thomas, it was a foot injury. I think it was like a toe. He's going to be evaluated this week. For Jarvis, it's an ankle, I believe. For Alvin Kamara, still recovering from the rib injury. Look, if any of these players are out, okay, then Chris Olave sees, just as many targets as he's been seeing. If Michael Thomas is back and Jarvis is out, or, back and forth, whatever it looks like, then great. Maybe the defense has to focus on other players rather than Chris Olave. In week 3, before Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry were injured, Olave was still out targeting both of them. And he was getting the more important targets as well that were down the field. Before they went out, Olave out targeted both of them 4-3-3. And the reason why I think there is actually an opportunity to go trade for Olave in redraft right now is because of the rookie tag. A lot of people in redraft, they struggle to trust rookies. The person who has Olave could be thinking to themselves, well, Garrett Wilson just went off last week.
Right.
And he didn't do it again. Drake London had a good game, but if it wasn't for that touchdown, what would have happened? The rookie tag gives you flexibility in the trade market. And I think there's a lot of people who have Olave who would still be open to moving him for well-established names in the NFL. For me, I think this is the rookie of the year. I think we're looking at the rookie of the year. That's why I'm so passionate about this take. Jameis loves him. The target share is there, and incredible route runner, can stretch the field. I think he's going to continue to be a focal point of this offense. Let me give you some names. I would trade all these guys away right now for Chris Olave. Devonta Smith, by the way, had an incredible game. You cannot anticipate that happening every single game. The matchups for the Eagles so far, by the way, in their secondary have been probably the easiest of almost any, like that. If you could put 3 matchups in a row for a quarterback and a wide receiver, these are the 3 matchups that you would choose. Devonta's going to have good games. He's going to have down games. He's going to have good games. That's just a reality. I think Olave will be more consistent. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's in a similar situation. 2 back-to-back really good weeks. My start of the week this week. I think if you can move Cooper for Olave, I'm doing it. DK Metcalf, Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, and Michael Thomas himself. If you have Michael Thomas and you can send him away for Chris Olave, I'm doing it. The combination of talent, the need for him to be successful for this team, the target share, injuries to his competition, it makes him a must start on a weekly basis from here on out. From here on out, I will have him ranked as a top 24 wide receiver every week, like regardless of matchup. And, 1 week might be a fluke. You see it 2 weeks back to back. And even with those, Michael Thomas and Landry in, he's being prioritized. Chris Olave will finish as a top 15 wide receiver in fantasy football this year. Now is the time to get him. I said quickly, team need. It is so important for Chris Olave to be successful on this team. The draft capital that they gave up their picks next year as well to build around this team. They can't keep losing. They need to win, and Olave needs to be a big part of that formula. It's all in for the Saints. They made that very clear this year. Go get Chris Olave. I know some of those names might sound crazy, but I'm confident in moving them for Chris Olave right now.
Okay. I definitely like it. Chris Olave, a guy we both like coming into this year. So let's see if it holds up. Top 15, you said? What was it?
Top 15. He'll finish top 15.
Write it down, guys. My first trade for target is J.K. Dobbins. Bobbing like I'm Dobbins. He had his NFL debut in week 3 against the New England Patriots, and he looked good. It wasn't amazing, but what you want to see is how he is on the field. How is he feeling with that knee? How is he feeling with, that ACL, et cetera, et cetera. But when you saw he was running through the hole, he looked explosive. It wasn't a lot of work that he got, but he looked really good. 7 carries to 23 yards, and I think that is great. A good welcoming back for J.K. Dobbins to understand how that knee feels and how comfortable he is going to get moving forward. So this is a buy low scenario right now. Maybe it's buy low, maybe it's in a gray area because maybe people want to hold on to J.K. Dobbins right now. But there are some players I believe you can sell now that probably had a good week that was a fluke that I believe could be coming in. But this also could be a 2-week window for you. Right, because J.K. Dobbins last week played the New England Patriots, and now next week in week 4 they played the Buffalo Bills, who give up the 4th least amount of points to the running back position. If you can get J.K. Dobbins right now and say, look, they play the Bills, or if you get him after they play the Bills and he does bad, great. He doesn't look good. No, it's just based off matchup. That's going to be based off matchup. If you can get him moving forward, they play the Bengals, the Giants, and the Browns. You just saw the Giants give up literally 100-something yards to Tony Pollard. The Browns and both of the Browns and the Bengals both give up a lot of points to the running back position. They're in the middle of the pack in the defense. So I would definitely send feelers out and see what you can get for J.K. Dobbins right now. Some players I am willing to move forward right now that maybe had a decent game or didn't have somewhat of a decent game. Chase Edmonds, a Rashad Penny, a Darrell Henderson, a Tony Pollard, and a Melvin Gordon. These are guys that I'm happy to get in return, or I'm happy to trade away and get J.K. Dobbins. If you're in a weird position right now, Elijah, Darnell Mooney went down, Dalvin Cook is out there and went down, and you don't have the Alexander Madison, and you don't have, the Jamal Williams with Swift. Maybe J.K. Dobbins is a good guy that you can try and trade for. It may not be once again an exciting week in week 4, but the longevity, like Zach said with Chris Olave, the trajectory that where we believe he can go is that this is what I'm believing for J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, you got to the doc before me, because he would have been. I saw you, like we make the doc every week, and I saw J.K. Dobbins was there for you, and I was like, oh, that's a great one. Yeah. And I agree. It's the same thing I said about A.J. Dillon last week. This might be a 2-week window because last week I said he was going to face the Bucks. And this week you're saying JK is about to go face the Bills. Yeah. There could be a 2-week window for him. So I agree. I like it. And speaking of A.J. Dillon, I'm going to tell you again to go trade for A.J. Dillon. Exactly what I just said. We're talking about a matchup where when I was on this video last week, I told you guys there's going to be a 2-week window. The Bucks are right now, they give up the fewest points to the running back position. So it shouldn't be a surprise that A.J. Dillon had a average week here in week 3. Back-to-back down weeks, 7.7 points, 5.8 points. Back-to-back down weeks present, of course, like a buy low opportunity. Don't be disappointed in AJ Dillon here in week 3 because no one in the right mind would have anticipated him having a good week. So what is the good news? Well, the next 3 of 4 matchups are pretty good. You have the Patriots, which that's not good. But then you got the Giants, the Jets, and the Commanders. And all 3 of those teams are very weak against the rush defense. So better days are ahead. Opportunities are still there. Opportunities are everything in fantasy football. And as long as a player continues to get opportunities, we expect them to bring fantasy relevancy. In week 3, Aaron Jones versus AJ Dillon. Jones had more snaps. They had the same amount of rushing attempts. Jones had one more target, and total touches, Jones had one more touch than AJ Dillon. So they're both very, very involved. If you look at the entire year so far, so the first 3 weeks, you can see Jones is out-snapping Dillon, but AJ Dillon has more rushing attempts. He has the same amount of targets, and he has almost 10 more total touches so far for AJ Dillon. Eight more total touches. So, and then if you look at AJ Dillon on his own through 3 weeks, he's 12th in carries, 13th in running back targets, 7th in running back target share, 5th in yards per route run amongst running backs, and in red zone touches, he is 6th amongst running backs. Opportunities and the metrics are all there. Fantasy points will come on what is a successful offense, who is, by the way, getting healthier and healthier on their offensive line. David Bakhtiari, you cannot underestimate what it means to get one of the best left tackles back in the NFL for that run game. Why were we all so frustrated or sad or whatever for fantasy when Trent Williams went down? Because we all know the impact that a good left tackle can have on an offense as a whole.
Agreed.
And reminder, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, they are this offense. All right, I showed you this stat last week, but I wanted to update it for you. So far through 3 weeks, total touches in 2022, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon account for 96 of the touches. All the Packers wide receivers combined, 52. Okay, so give me AJ Dillon right now over the following players, and I think this, to be honest, this looks very realistic for you to go out and get these players I'm about to tell you. AJ Dillon over Jacobs, over Gibson, over my name is Jeff Wilson, Chase Edmonds, Miles Sanders, Zeke, even though he had a pretty decent game there in week 3 versus the Giants. So go get AJ Dillon. It's a tough matchup versus the Patriots, but I think that there is a great couple matchups here coming up. He still has all the opportunities that you want. Touchdowns will come. So go get AJ Dillon.
I love it. Get AJ Dillon, see what you can do. My next trade for target is Elijah Moore. And it's been disappointing so far. We can both agree. And I believe it is a combination of Joe Flacco being a part of that and Zach Wilson not being on the field, obviously, So the thing that I want to bring to you is that let's keep in mind that Zach Wilson could be coming back in week 4. They already made an announcement saying that once the doctors clear him, he will be the starting quarterback once that's cleared, which should be in the next coming days. Maybe when this video is out, we will truly know that answer. But why I'm still invested in Elijah Moore is that he's still getting the opportunity and the targets, right? Week 1, 7 targets. Week 2, 5 targets. Week 3, 10 targets. He's averaging 7 targets per game. Not only that, he is leading the team, the wide receiver room, in snap percentages. Okay, Garrett Wilson had an amazing game. Had that 30 bomb touchdown. He was only on the field for 61% of the time, which is fine. That's amazing. This is not a knock on Garrett Wilson. Is that Elijah Moore is still on the field. He's like on the field literally for 90% of the time throughout all 3 games. And it's tough because I think they're using him the wrong way. Purely because of Joe Flacco, right? He is the deep threat guy. Elijah Moore is a deep threat guy with Joe Flacco. Now when Zach Wilson comes back, does the offense change? Does the play calling change? And I'm saying the reason why you should get Elijah Moore now is because there's a window where things can flip. I think Garrett Wilson will still be tremendously valuable in this offense, but I think Elijah Moore can click. And then maybe he's not the guy that we all expected him to be, maybe a wide receiver, low-end wide receiver too. Maybe he can be a good flex option for you moving forward. So if you are struggling, someone that doesn't have wide receiver depth and maybe needs to kind of make a move or whatever the case may be, or you want to get wide receiver depth, then why not go and do it, right? Players I will be trading away to get Elijah Moore Michael Thomas just went down. Maybe a Jarvis Landry. You have a Darnell Mooney who has been absolutely terrible so far, and this team is not throwing the ball. A Brandon Ayuk. These are guys that I'm happy to kind of, put feelers out for Elijah Moore, because once Zach Wilson comes back, the mobility that he has that he can create, then like unlike Joe Flacco, maybe Elijah Moore can get into space. Maybe Elijah Moore can do something and be something for you. It's hard to invest in Elijah Moore right now, but if you can get him at a low price, and once Zach Wilson comes back, and if it does flip, then it's great. And if not, then you didn't really give up too much. So see what we can get for Elijah Moore.
Yeah, let's see. Zach Wilson, man. I hope it's good for this offense, because it's been really fun seeing Joe Flacco with all these weapons.
Yeah.
All right, my third trade for, and I'm going to give you 3 names. I'm going to talk specifically about one, but these are just superstars that are having down weeks or have had a couple down weeks, and let's not overthink it. Go trade for Justin Jefferson. I mean, let me be honest with you guys, because I know someone's going to comment and they're going to say, no one's trading away Justin Jefferson. We have the great advantage of having about 900 people in our Discord. We answer about 100 fantasy questions every day on both of our different channels and in our Discord and Twitter and whatever the case may be. And I can tell you, there are people who are worried about Justin Jefferson. As crazy as that sounds, there are people out there. We have the advantage of seeing, maybe it's a small percentage, but we have the advantage of seeing those conversations that people have with us. Go trade for Justin Jefferson. I'll give you 2 more at the end of this that I just thought would be honorable mentions. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you why Justin Jefferson's good. We all know why Justin Jefferson's good. In week 1, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns, over 39 fantasy points.
Yeah.
If you look at weeks 2 and 3 combined, he has 62 yards and 15 fantasy points. In the last 2 weeks, why is that, right? In the last 2 weeks, first got shut down by Darius Slay, and that Eagles defense legitimately looks like that Eagles team looks like the best team in the NFL right now. Is that crazy to say? Right now, I think they look like, at minimum, the best team in the NFC. At minimum, the best team in the NFC.
There's no doubt about it that they are. It does feel like they are the best team in the NFL right now. But hey, teams are still trying to figure themselves out. But anyways, continue.
Of course. It's not going to, things could 100% change. We're only 3 weeks into the season. That being said, that defense looks legit. Darius Slay shut them down. They had a great game plan. Then in week 3, we saw the Detroit Lions completely abandon everything on that offense except for Justin Jefferson. Double, triple team coverages. And that led to basically teams are now saying to the Vikings, beat us a different way. Until you beat us a different way, we're going to stop Justin Jefferson. And in week 2, the Vikings were not able to exploit that opportunity because the Eagles defense was just so complete. But in week 3, they were able to exploit that versus the Detroit Lions. This week, Thielen and KJ Osborne were able to finally capitalize. They combined for 11 catches on 16 targets for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. If Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne weren't able to take advantage of the Lions double and triple teaming Justin Jefferson, then this would be the game plan going forward. But now that we have seen the Vikings are able to exploit with their other weapons, let's hope that they can continually do that. There will be a shift where, okay, we can't actually put this much attention just on one player. Kirk Cousins is a competent enough quarterback. And Justin Jefferson is a talented enough wide receiver to figure this out. I also believe in Kevin O'Connell. Great first week. Rough second week, but third week they looked a little bit better. So let's be realistic here, okay? Most people are not going to trade away Justin Jefferson. But even if there's a chance in Dynasty, in redraft, for you to get a hold of Justin Jefferson, you take that chance, okay?
Right.
More important thing to discuss is what's it going to take? There's only one wide receiver, now that I think about it, that I would not trade away for Justin Jefferson. That's Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp just seems like there's no way to stop this guy. I mean, even when he has a terrible week in the air this week, he gets a freaking rushing touchdown, the first of his career, I think.
Yeah.
This dude's unstoppable. If it's not Cooper Kupp, give me Justin Jefferson. It doesn't matter who you have. Give me Justin Jefferson over Amon-Ra, St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase. I don't care where the list goes. It's only Cooper Kupp that I'm not willing to send away for Justin Jefferson. Mm-hmm. So take advantage. And I know most people will not do it, but if there is someone in your league who is worried, now's the time to take advantage of that. The other two names that I wanted to quickly mention, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. If there's a chance for you to go buy those guys off of a really rough week, definitely go do that. Again, not everyone's going to be willing to sell these players, but some teams might be 1-2 now. They might be 0-3 now, and they're thinking, "Oh my God, I need to get rid of some of these guys and build a better team," which is typically the wrong move. You don't typically want to get rid of star talent, but we see it every single year. So I wanted to mention those names.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get him, it'll be tremendous for you and your team. So good luck with that. My third trade for target for me is Javonte Williams. It's kind of the same thing like Zach was saying. I think it's time to try and go get this guy because a lot of people are panicking on someone like Javonte Williams. We've seen every time you watch the game, it's clear Javonte Williams is the better running back, and you can see how this offense is struggling. But 2 weeks.
And just quickly, sorry to interrupt. It's like harder when you see a player do so well week one, and then it's back-to-back weeks of disappointment.
Exactly.
That like does something to someone, because like Javonte was great week one, so was Jefferson obviously, and now people are like, what the like? Why am I not? Exactly. Why am I not getting this? It's so I love this. I love this one as well. Sorry.
Yeah, 2 weeks he scored under 10 points, and in a week where we saw Melvin steal a touchdown from Javonte. And I know at the end of like that pre-game or the post-game interviews with Russell Wilson, we're finding our stride. But, he's talking out his ass, just saying, we're still doing great things. Where oddly enough, well, I don't believe so that they did great things, but oddly enough, I do believe they're going to improve moving forward. And I think this team, this offense, Nathaniel Hackett is going to realize that the best player that they have, one of their best players that they have in the backfield is Javonte Williams. I mean, literally everyone, fans, fantasy analysts, just NFL, not like actual fantasy analysts, just people that cover sports saying, why is Javonte Williams not on the field?
Sterling
Sharp. He was like, wait, what? I mean, if you haven't seen that, a Monday Night Football with Payne and Eli, go watch Sterling. He was like, why is Javonte not on the field? So
know how he brought in someone to help him with like these decisions, like gameplay and calls and stuff. Like they brought someone in. Mm-hmm. They could bring me in. I could be like, take Melvin off the field. Like you could pay me like $10 a game. I would be like, yeah, put Javonte in. It's probably a good idea.
Oh man, look, in the past three games in 2020 so far, Javonte Williams versus Melvin, right? Snaps, he has outsnapped Javonte Williams. He has outrushed Javonte Williams, and he's Melvin Gordon. So Javonte Williams has out everything. Snaps, rushing attempts, targets, and total touches. He is the guy in this offense. Yes, it may feel like a 50-50, 60-40, but Javonte Williams will have a bounce back opportunity. So if you can go and try and get Javonte Williams, guys, I'm willing to trade away Najee. I'm happy to have Javonte Williams over Najee Harris right now. Personally, I don't really like this offense. I think Broncos offense is significantly better. Derrick Henry, I know he had a decent game, and I think he's gonna have a better moving forward. But this team is very one-dimensional, right? And it's very a limited list that you can go. I was thinking of Alvin Kamara. I was thinking of, maybe Dalvin. But I think that's a gray area. Maybe you want to get an extra piece in there. But those are the two guys I would feel comfortable to say, you know what, hey, let me get Javonte. Derrick Henry just went off just now. It's probably a good selling point. Maybe he should have been a good trade away target. But Javonte Williams for Derrick Henry, I would still do that right now because I'm believing in the turnaround in this offense.
Yeah, hey, Derrick Henry just had a get-right game versus who?
The Raiders.
Who does Javonte play this week?
The Raiders.
Could happen. Let's see.
200 IQ.
Don't make it more difficult than it needs to be over there, Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, come on. Like, literally everyone knows the right answer is to give Javonte Williams a freaking football. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to give you a couple tradeaways. And some of these might be obvious. Some of them may not. But I think what's more important is to tell you who to try and get for these players.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you to trade away Chase Edmonds. Firstly, the lack of usage and opportunities is really, really concerning for me with Chase Edmonds. After week one, I think we all were pretty much on the same page. Like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, Chase Edmonds is going to be the guy in this backfield. He was getting the opportunities, getting the targets, getting the, rushing attempts, despite having 2 yards per carry. I think we all felt relatively okay. Like, yeah, this will be a decent RB 2-3 on the edge there that you can start most weeks. Now you look at weeks 2 and 3. Those 2 weeks combined, as far as averages go, averaging 5.5 rushing attempts and 2 targets a game. 7.5 opportunities a game is not sustainable for any running back in the NFL to be fantasy
Right.
relevant. And now you look at it is truly a split backfield. Raheem Mostert's involvement it has to be concerning if you are a Chase Edmonds owner. And the difficult part for Chase Edmonds here is, what do we all have this perceived value for? Like, what was the perceived value for him this year? It was, well, he's going to be involved in the passing game. He's going to get to work on third down. He's a great pass catcher. That's how he's won historically, versus or with the Cardinals, if you will, as a fantasy option. The third down role is Raheem Mostert's right now. It is not Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is the goal line running back, but just like the Chiefs with the amount of weapons that they have, I don't envision this this team, or even like the Niners, for example, with how they use Deebo Samuel. It doesn't seem to me like Raheem Mostert, with his build, with the weapons that are on this team, that a goal line workload is going to be reliable for him on a weekly basis.
Right.
Let's look at Mostert versus Edmonds. Starting in week 1, both played about 42% of the snaps, had the same amount of rushing attempts. Edmonds had one more target, and Edmonds had one more total touch. Now, if you look at the last 2 weeks, so weeks 2 and 3, Mostert is out snapping Edmonds. He is getting more rushing attempts. He's getting more targets. Total touches right now, in the last 2 weeks alone, Mostert has touched the ball almost 10 more times. 9 right now. And in week 3, the only reason you have a single chance to sell Chase Edmonds is because he had 2 touchdowns on 7 touches.
Yeah.
This is your last chance to sell Chase Edmonds. This is the last chance. And the real focus on this team is none of the running backs. It's not the tight end. It's Tyreek Hill and it's Jalen Waddle. Mike Gesicki isn't playable. None of these running backs are going to be playable. It is Waddle. It is Tyreek. And that's how they're going to continue to win games. If I have Edmonds, give me any of these players. Give me Dameon Pierce. Give me J.K. Dobbins. Give me, which I think Dobbins, is a really good opportunity right now because he didn't have a good week.
Yeah.
Edmonds looks better in fantasy if you look at, if you don't watch the games. I would take Cam Akers over Edmonds, oddly enough. I would take Damian Harris, Travis Etienne.
We got to stamp that right there. Okay, he said Cam Akers over somebody. That's huge.
Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs. I would take all these players right now over Chase Edmonds, who, to be honest, Edmonds is going to be a player that you're dropping soon. I'm just being honest with you. Unless there is a injury to Raheem Mostert, you will probably drop Chase Edmonds here soon. That's just the reality of how bad it could potentially get.
Yeah. Look, I completely agree. I love all those players as well over Chase Edmonds, and maybe over this guy that I'm going to tell you to trade away for, and that's Antonio Gibson. And it's not necessarily of what he has done. It is what it could and I'm projecting to happen, right? This could be a good opportunity to sell Antonio Gibson right now. Maybe also the only opportunity, depending on the timeline of Brian Robinson, right? We have all seen the reports. We're already seeing videos of Brian Robinson running routes. We saw him in the pregame warm-up last week. He wasn't part of obviously he's not active right now, but once you get that notification, Brian Robinson is going to be active, and I think that's where it can change everything, specifically for Antonio Gibson, specifically for his value right now. Week 1, 20 fantasy points. Week 2, 12 fantasy points. And then week 3, 11 fantasy points. He did get that garbage time touchdown, which can kind of save, your selling point. But, hey, it's a double-digit, guys. If you need a low-end RB, you need a flex, something could happen. But once the reports come out saying Brian Robinson could have a chance playing this week, whether that's a week 5, week 6. I do believe he should be coming into week 5. That's their projection. Anything can happen. Maybe it's longer. Maybe it's a setback. But if you can trade away Antonio Gibson right now before the reports happen and get the value that you can get for what he's worth right now, then maybe you can save yourself. Maybe you can save whatever, unless you have Brian Robinson on your bench, which is great, or your IR. That's fantastic. But these are some players I am really happy and willing to trade away to acquire, or players I will be targeting if I were to trade away Antonio Gibson, right? Singletary, Breece, Miles Sanders, Stevenson, Jeff Wilson, I think is a little bit in question now with Trent out. But even some of the players that Zach said, depending on, Dameon Pierce, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, Damian Harris, Travis, once again, I said Breece already, Josh Jacobs. If you can either package, do something. I think it's good to get him off your team now, and maybe Zach will disagree because obviously he's a Washington fan. But for me, we saw the hype on Brian Robinson before the season started. We saw what he could have been before, that incident. And if he does come back and he does get all the work on the ground in the goal line, then maybe, Antonio Gibson is going to fade away soon. But once again, he's also a fumble away from losing his job. So the game script last week wasn't the best, and Brian Robinson could be coming back by week 5. So I'll be putting out offers to see what you can get for Antonio Gibson.
I think my stance has pretty much always been, once Brian Robinson's there, I don't want a part of that backfield. So yeah, I'm definitely not wanting to keep Antonio Gibson and redraft. It's like, I just don't want a part of it. It's a full blown 3-way, I've said before, and not the kind of 3-way you want to be a part of.
Oh boy.
And by the way, I'm not ready to give up on Travis Etienne. I know James Robinson looks good. He really does look good. He does.
It's
Travis
tough.
Etienne doesn't look bad either. So honestly, hey, can I give a specific comment here to Sean McVay? Go trade for Travis Etienne, please. Like, someone unleash Travis Etienne in their offense. It would be so awesome to see. He doesn't look bad. Like, he looks good.
He looks good. Every time he touches the ball, he is doing something great. He's just not getting the opportunity. I mean, it's
so frustrating seeing James Robinson get all these opportunities, and I'm happy for him, right? But you can't look at those opportunities and tell me Etienne couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that 4th and 1 complete blown, like the hole was there.
Right.
Everyone's hitting that hole. Jeff Wilson's hitting that hole. Like, everyone is hitting it. It's just sad. It's really sad. And someone tweeted something out. They were like, you guys have to keep in mind Travis Etienne's a rookie running back. And I was like, I haven't thought about it that way, but I guess in theory you're technically right. This is his rookie year. And a lot of rookies get ramped up. But as of right now, James Robinson looks incredible. So he's going to have to get injured. He's going to have to not look himself, which is still a possibility with that injury. Anyway, it's random. I still believe in he looks good. Please, watch the games. He looks good.
Agreed. I'm with you. It just sucks he's not getting the opportunity. It is tough.
Yeah. I want this to be one of those conversations where we look back and we're like, do you remember last year? We're like, first 3 weeks, everyone was shitting on Travis Etienne. You know what I mean? Like, this happens every year. It's some player who doesn't perform.
I mean, it has to be on James to go down. If he doesn't go down, which sucks. I mean, you don't wish an injury on anyone, but
no, you don't wish injury on anyone.
It feels like the only way Etienne is going to get the work is if James goes down. And if that does happen,
if the injury, because I've said it's not a long-term fix. We know that. And it's not me.
It takes a toll on his talent or something.
Let's hope. I mean, let's not hope, but let's just let's see.
Right.
Anyway,
for Etienne's sake and Dynasty specifically, great guy, James Robinson, great friend of the show.
Yeah, I'm still buying Etienne in Dynasty. Like, if someone said, "Hey, I'll give you a 23-second for Etienne," I'm doing that. And I don't think that's crazy now. I don't think that's crazy to say. No. Anyway, why don't you guys comment down below? Let us know what you're buying, what you are selling. Like the video, comment. I don't know. Good luck this week. Good luck. Send a prayer up for Travis. Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now if you want to. You need to. And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLand fam.